Give us a second. Okay. Hey, everybody. If y'all don't know, this is Hershea the Shadow Reader. She is very, very good. She does these readings in a way that everybody has their talent in readings, and she is able to go a whole lot deeper. So, everybody, when y'all come in, welcome her. We're going to give everybody a minute to come in. So if you come in the middle, y'all just have to kind of rewind. I'm going to let her introduce herself and whatever she wants to say. But we're all excited about this. We're not doing Idaho 4 today unless there's some kind of crazy spirit calling to where one of our teams is like, yes, do this or something. But we are going to do that. We've talked about that. But anyways, we've got a couple of readings that we'll talk about before we get into them. But I'm going to let her do her introduction.
Oh, well, okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Hershey. Oh God, oh boy, I hate being put on the spot. Okay, so I have a small channel. And you know what? I don't know one word for my channel. I'm chaos. I learned to control my chaos. My life is peaceful. It's quiet. I stay present. We laugh on my channel. We heal. I'm a subconscious reader, so I like to look for blind spots. I like to help people with the trauma mind and the trauma body, like the stuff we maybe don't even realize we are carrying and possibly have been carrying for decades. I like to play games on my channel. We do scavenger hunts, all kinds of good stuff. We go on location. We go to graveyards. We go to different people's houses and help them with energies that may be in their house. And sometimes I'll go live while I'm there. We just do different stuff. I love crime reads. I like trying to help people find closure. Um, Let me see what else. I like crystals. I work with them. I believe my world consists of a curiosity cabinet, and I carry one in my heart at all times. I don't know. I like staying present and interacting with people and learning new stuff all the time. I don't know. That's all I got right now.
That's good. And I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I was just like wanting them to know, what you do. She does. Her channel is she's like me. She doesn't look at a monetary value when she's doing this stuff. She'll help anybody. So subscribe to her. I didn't put her link in here, y'all. I will. Hershey, if you have your link and you want to put it in chat, you can. If not, then one of my mods can too. I don't know who's in here because I can't see the thing good. But Christy
Well,
or one of y'all are in here.
you can. Kane's in here. Kane, I believe, has my link. He's it's the only mod I see
Kane,
right
put her link
now.
in here. Abusing it.
We've got she's not abusing me yet, Kane. Okay. We have Mosaic is in the chat. Janet Lee, Mr. Floyd. Golly, hi guys. Hi everybody. And then Kane. Kane is in chat. So
Kane, put
she can't
Hershey's
really see
link in the
chat,
chat to her
guys.
page.
So
Yeah.
if you guys need me to get her attention, you're gonna have to yell at me because once we get started, I may not be paying attention. So you guys are gonna have to scream at us if you want us to see something in chat. We're both kind of struggling with chat, but we're doing the best we can. He says no.
Kane, be a good boy today. Okay, yeah. And when we're reading to y'all, it kind of breaks concentration sometimes to get chat. Like if y'all have a question, we're gonna look at the questions and stuff. We're gonna do my mind just went blank. We're doing the case of, and I honestly cannot remember the little boy's name. Do you remember his name, Hershey?
Oh, I didn't write it down. No, I did not. I just remember
Me.
the heading. that I saw flashed, like the flash, like look this one up, and I was like, okay, there's a heading I'm seeing.
That was
I
in
look,
Alabama, wasn't it? Or was it Florida?
I
It was
thought that was
Florida.
right here in Florida. Unfortunately,
It is.
like I hope it's like way down farther past me, because right here in the Panhandle, that would suck to know that was right around the corner from me.
Yeah. Okay, so I
Ah,
don't remember the little boy's name, but his mother, like, she has mental problems. And there's 2 missing teens in Idaho. Okay, Kane, put the information, a little bit of information in chat. But and I guess the school was acting like DHR or Child Protective Services, sort of, and supposed to be keeping an eye on her because they knew she had mental problems. But anyways, she said God told her to do an exorcism on the little boy. Is that right, Hershey?
mhm, 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 mhm,
And she
mhm.
ended up unaliving him, which I don't usually say that. I usually just say the other word, but the algorithm, whatever. But she took him out. And I'm not, on this type of thing, I used to be judgmental, but I'm not, and especially until we read, because like if she really has a mental illness, putting her in prison is not gonna exactly fix it. So, I'm not sure where the school was with this or why DHR wasn't involved or Child Protective, whatever they call them DHR here. It's Child Protective Service and everywhere else. But um, that's just wild to me. But me nor her did a whole lot of like research. We just got the basic stuff. And we're also going to do the we will look that up too. The Ladybird Lake, whether that has to do with anything with those smiley face killers or not, I'm not sure, but I just wanted to see just what the energy was on that. And then Kane said there's 2 people missing in Idaho.
Okay,
Why not?
okay.
And I think the way we're going to start this off is I was going to do, and I don't usually do a whole lot of spreads, y'all, and I'm going to turn my camera on in just a second, but it's just like a 6-card spread to kind of introduce the energy to this reading in Florida with the mother and the child. If somebody wants to look that up real quick and get me the child's name and the mother's name, that will be great, because I really didn't do it because I was trying not to read too much on it. Just so.
J. Does it start with a J or something? Oh, it's like it's hyphenated or something. Oh my god.
I think it is.
No, it's not Jamel. Jahab. Oh my goodness, what is it? Come on.
I just can't. I'm having to use my phone, y'all, because I have an electricity problem. Like all my plugs, something sparked the other day, and the only thing plugged up was my air conditioner. So
Ramile
Remind.
Pierre. The mother's name is Rhonda Pierre. Thank you, Janet. Appreciate it so
Thank you.
much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. For
Thank
some
you,
reason,
Miss
I was like,
Janet.
all of a sudden, I was like, it's like hyphenated or something. It's like, I was struggling to remember, but we got it. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Ooh.
Okay. So I'm going to start out with this spread just to introduce the energy and see, what's going on, see what we can get. I'm saying this, I haven't, well, it was rolling at the bottom of my screen. Hang on. Now it's rolling, but I'm just going to say this, and I'll probably say it again just because I usually do it during the reading, but this is all alleged. It is a tarot reading. We just read energy off the cards. It's what we get. Everything we get is not always going to be right. Everything is not always going to be wrong. You may interpret the cards different, and that's fine. If you do, you can let us know what you're getting. Just don't do it in a rude way, please, because negative energy is not getting anybody anywhere. But I'm going to get my camera turned down. Oh, I know what I was telling y'all. I can't use my computer because we have extension cords from my room to the kitchen, because the living room, whatever happened, it knocked those plugs out too. The lights work. Well, one of them works. But so I have everything plugged up anyway by extension cord. So long story short, I'm using my phone. So that's the whole story with that. So that's why I can't see chat. My phone's fixing to be facing down so y'all can see the cards. So that's why I can't see chat. Okay. I'm going to get this fixed, and I think. Oh yeah. That way. It's facing down. Okay. Let's fix the cam. Okay. And I'm trying to make sure y'all can actually see the stinking cards too. I can't tell. Okay. I could not tell what my table was showing. This is ridiculous, by the way, y'all. Sorry. Story of my life. Story of my life. Story of my life. It's all good. Okay. So I'm gonna have Hershey yell like if I get these cards off the camera, because literally I cannot see Hershey. I can't see anything because my phone is facing down so that y'all can see the cards. So I think that cord's out of the way enough. Okay. So the first card, it's a 6-card spread, and like I said, it's just going to introduce the energy to this crime story. The first one is the child's crossroads. So let's see. And this is just kind of like the energy of what he was facing at home. That's the way I want to read this, like what was going on, sort of. Okay, so the High Priestess in reverse. Oh my God, okay, y'all can see that. To me, I mean, this in reverse, it means someone's not using their intuition, but with his mother and the alleged, whatever she had going on, I feel like it's a disconnection from her soul, from her higher self, from everything, really. That's what I feel like that card is. So that's the crossroads, like the energy of the crossroads, because she, I mean, quite literally was not able to process her mind. The influential figure, so this is more of his mother's energy. Let's see. Okay, y'all, this is after tarot too. So it's like the moment after the regular tarot. This is the Ace of Wands and it's upright, but if you see in his hand, it's like a chameleon, kind of like a lizard, and they change colors with whatever they're on for protection. I mean, I kind of feel that's the way his mom was, like, depending on what her mood was, maybe. I'm probably not saying that right. Whatever her mental status was at the time, it's like she changed depending on that. So it was unstable, of course, that's kind of common sense. But the path of temptation. So let's see what comes out, and I'll see how to read that. Secrets. Secrets, illusions a lot. I mean, because it's kind of like everything she did, especially that day, was done in darkness. The illusion of what she thought God was telling her to do. Which that could be what that is too. Like the hand coming down, but it's not really, I don't think, allegedly, my opinion, God didn't tell her to do that. The path of responsibility. So let's see. Fighting, quite literally fighting her mind. That is the 5 of Wands. No, 7. I'm telling y'all a lie. Y'all, I can't even see. I didn't even see the other 2 wands. This is the 7 of Wands. This is like, in the regular tarot, it is defending yourself. In this tarot, it's like fighting oneself, fighting the battle people around you. In reverse, it's, to me, I mean, that's shouting, losing that battle, not able to fight the what's in your mind. Let's see. What was that? 1, 2. Okay. And then the hidden emotion. Well, I can't get my hands to work right. The King of Wands is communication, confidence, able to come up with ideas. What is on top of his head? Oh, he's holding a lizard too. So that same lizard that this Ace of Wands is holding. So that to me is all of that was hidden away with her. Confidence, everything, because she wasn't able to portray it. Like, I feel like her emotions, like literally, I'm getting confused trying to tell y'all this. That's the way I feel like she was, completely like just out of her mind. That very strong on the voice of wisdom. So so Ace of like, it is the truth, but it can be a destruction. Sometimes the truth can cause us destruction. I mean, and the voice of wisdom in reverse, because she wasn't able to hear that, or it was ignored. If I don't even know if there was any there at all. And also the school or whoever was supposed to be assisting them, I think that has to do with that as well. They weren't doing exactly everything they were supposed to. If we can have, I'm going to pull one more card and then we're going to let Hershey go into it. But if we can have one card giving us the energy of whoever was at the school that was supposed to be doing the supervision, what would that card be? One card, what would that card be? Oops. My hands. Yep. This is the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. Upright, it is manifestation, doing something over and over for perfection. This way is lazy, not doing your job, not completing, following through. And that's really what I felt was the energy of the school supervision or whatever they had set up. Whoever was supposed to be doing it did not do something due to laziness, or they could have been busy. But the thing is, it did not get done. So lack of. Okay. And Hershey, if you want to take over, hopefully that helped.
Well, I just want to say real quick that I did try to do like just an overall 6-card spread, and my decks, of course, said that's not what's going on here. So, okay, so I actually, okay, so they want me to first. Usually, I look at the bad guy energy. For those of you who don't know how I read crime reads, I try to look at the bad guy, but because there's so much innocent victim here energy, I decided to look at the child, right? And then I wanted to see mother, and then I also looked at father, right? So my deck's kind of like different ones spoke in different areas, right? So when I look at, like, at first, just look at the child itself. First, I want to mention that I had no intention of using the 2 decks that are sitting over here, but yet I felt a strong, real strong impression of just a child, right? Just a little boy. It made me kind of remember a time when both my sons were very young, and so going to parks and playing ball and just having fun, right? And I felt like they touched these 2 decks over here, right? And when I flipped over the top card, I got male for male energy, and I also got clairvoyance, right? So when I think about these 2 cards, I think what this energy is trying to tell me, whether it's him or not, or if it's just the essence of the overall energy of what I'm feeling right now, I believe he may have known something was going to happen to him, and that's a little bit more um clearer, because when I was first looking at what I got, I'm like, I got what? And then I see now, I do believe that he knew that this extreme situation was close for him, and I do mean the other side. I because of his innocence, being young, and possibly connected to, as they like to call them, imaginary friends, or your ancestors and those guides on the other side. You can see them still as a child, and so I think he knew something was going to happen. Right? Why do I say that? Because there was never really a lot of joy, and for him, once in his life, I do believe the day that the situation happened, he had spontaneous joy. I don't believe he had it prior to that, right? So the card fell out sideways. I picked it up wrong. So it fell out this way. And for me, this means this is a direct connection, right? I do believe that this fell on both sides when it comes to the parent of the child. But for it to fall for me right now sideways, this is again feeling that energy of, look at these two cards. Like, I knew this was going to happen. But that day, I found joy. It wasn't a lot, but it was spontaneous, something I'm not used to having. And I think one, or maybe both, because I don't know exactly where the father's at in the situation, may have noticed the joy and took it as something else. That is not a line of defense. Just it's just not. I looked at the other cards that fell, right? So I get Queen of Cups energy paired with Three of Coins, right? So this Three of Coins in reverse is telling me that he knows there's nothing to save for, right? Again, I feel like he knew there was something coming. There was no need to start saving up for a rainy day kind of energy. They paired it with the Queen of Cups. So this tells me that he never gave up, right? He kept believing. He knew that eventually, if maybe he loved enough, he would show that he was a good boy, he was a good kid. But that was not what was going on in his world. Unfortunately for me, it was the other way around. And then also, when I just picked up my crime read deck, the card that fell out, if it was upright, it says the killer is outside of the area, but it fell in reverse. So we know where the killer is, right? We know where the person is that brought this situation to us, right? So before I look at the mother, because that's just kind of just a whole bunch of crazy for me, let's look at the father, right? So when I look at the father, I got the devil and I got the ace of sword. For me, aces are promises, right? That means if you put in the work, when an ace falls, you will get the reward, right? But you've got to put in the work. But this ace is in reverse. So this is maybe a walk away Joe kind of dad. I don't know. Could not be. I don't know. He may have been right there. I don't know. But it was paired with a devil card, right? So you have to think about, this man is constantly not healed. He's not in a place to be a good father, a good leader, a good supporter, guider, right? Especially of a boy. You're going to lead a boy down the wrong way. So maybe he knew that, because they paired that with the overall energy of the ride away, the walk away, the leaving, right? And then it also says that that he killer worked in familiar areas, and this again was sideways. So I don't know if maybe he worked in a similar place as where the mother did, or maybe at one time they may have worked together. I don't know, or I don't know, maybe he does some kind of um like maybe he has to move around, like construction and stuff, and maybe he just happened to be in the an area of her, or close to her one day, or close to him one day. I don't know, but because he's constantly always got this broken promise devil energy going on, and he knows this, plus paired with walk away over here, I feel like he was constantly always breaking that promise, right? But when I looked at the mother, I just was like, are you kidding me? Right? Because I get that. I even think someone else in the family knew something was going to happen. I'm not saying this is the well prepared card, but for me with this deck, when it says that the victim's family knew something about something, this means that maybe somebody else had a suspicion. Maybe they were scared. I don't know. I can't speak for anybody. And this is literally my impression of the cards that fell out, right? So I do believe that because the DNA card fell out, it's because, and if you see there's two entities, yeah, yeah, there's two DNA strands going on here, but if you take a closer look at a farther perception of the card, you can see that there's two actual people going on here, right? This is about where I think that this is the mother-son uh, case, right? You have your two DNAs, but they're connected in more ways than one, right? That's what to me this card says. Yes, there's DNA involved in more than one way than one, right? I do see that illegal activities played a role, but I don't think it's the kind we're thinking of because this is in reverse. It's not telling me it wasn't involved, but I do believe that there was some kind of thing going on with the head. That wasn't maybe always induced by altered states of drug or alcohol. You know what I mean? We have other things that can put us in places that maybe isn't always the friendliest, right? And especially when we're already dealing with a bunch of mental issues. So I do believe that this is kind of saying to broaden the horizons of what could have been going on in the head. And again, I can't make this shit up. I got another devil card for the mother, and this one was paired with Four of Swords and reverse, right? So when you think about the Four of Swords in reverse and the actual conflict and not being able to rest, not being able to understand, and you see that this one's about to chop the head off of something, but it's too late. You've already cut your own head off. You've already made yourself be the bad guy in the situation. And then the overall energy of all of this is messages and dreams in the head, right? So I do believe that there was I'm not gonna say the devil on her shoulder, so to speak, but I do believe that, you know, in the concept of a devil and an angel, I do believe she was leaning towards the lighter instead of trying to maybe understand what was causing it. I do believe if psychology would take a deeper look into the actual mind of her, they may see that there is maybe some criminal psychology twisted wires, like true, not, I'm not going to say insanity, but I'm going to go as far as say that I think it's been happening most of her life. I don't think this is something that just happened. She may have been fighting it her whole life, hiding it well, and gotten to a point where she had people convinced of one way, and the whole time she's another way behind a closed door. So I do believe that this is something that she's been actively maybe rehearsing even in daydreams or fantasies for a while. I don't think it's something recent happening right now. And that's what I got just for the opening of it.
Okay, y'all. So I was pulling some cards. I mean, I didn't do it on camera, but my Ashley from the Reckoning Co. These are Whispers of the Unsolved. It's like true crime, conspiracy. You can use them for, I mean, news readings. You can use them for any kind of reading. I mean, basically, most cards you can. But I'm going to show y'all what come out while Hershey was talking, because it just kind of shows like while she's talking, our spirit teams both like just verify information. It's just like giving us another confirmation. Okay, that's, you know, it's on the same, it's common enough grounds to where it might not be word for word 100% right, but this is a lot of times how it's not proving one wrong to the other. It's just like verifying the energy that we're feeling. So I got the bloodline family lineage card, and she was talking about like the family, and the male card, she was talking about the dad. The psychic abilities and intuition card, when she was talking about the mother, like having dreams or those type things. Sometimes I believe mental illness can be an overload of people's gifts, or they're not understanding them, or they could have done something spiritually that they don't even know, like that brought in something that makes that happen. Now, this is my interpretation of it. I'm not saying that's what Hershey believes. You know, I'm just saying that's what I believe. That I also got the outside out in the open in reverse. And so that could be people that knew something was going to happen or had a feeling. I also got the social media card. So she could have been posting on social media, somebody in her family or whatever. That could be how they knew. Paper trail, I think that just has to do with her mental illness. The desert mirage card is like you see something, but it's not there. It was upright. So you see it, but it's not there. Like if you've been in the desert too long and you need water, you see water, but it's not there. I feel like her mind was like that. The fake death, new life card in reverse because there was a real death. Below ground level, which is keeping things hidden. Like Hershey was saying that she might have kept a lot of her mental illness. She fought it, trying to keep hidden. And then the final ending card, which also confirms like the child, it being the final ending and him and the psychic ability also could double in the meaning that he, like Hershey said, may have known something was not right or something was going to happen. Maybe the dad, I mean, I think he knew that she had mental illness and I think he knew that he should have stepped up some. I do get that as well. And Hershey, I'm not sure exactly how else, I mean, where to go with this. So if you want to give us lead, then we can go however or wherever,
Yeah, I mean, I don't have like a specific thing, but like I what I don't like to do is I don't like to like just stay one way focused, right? Like
Mhm.
I'm sure it wasn't just one thing that happened and bam, she snapped and there it was. This to me feels
Oh,
like
yeah.
there's so many levels and layers to this. I feel like that somebody needs to talk to somebody, and there's always a black sheep in the family and they're a black sheep for a reason. That it's not because they're not loved or not wanted. It's because they don't usually fall for the way the rest of the family kind of makes the domino effect fall in line, right? They're the one that stands outside and says, "Well, you're not perfect. You're not this. Why are you projecting that?" They're usually the one the family would call the whistleblower of the family. The black sheep. And I've been that person pretty much lately, my since my mom died. And that's
Me
the
too.
that's what I think somebody needs to find that person, because I do believe there's denial in more than one place here, right? We don't just we show, from what I understand when I was attempting to go towards a road with psychology when I was going to college. I understood it to not be something like, oh, I just snapped and it happened. That's usually not a the homicidal mind. It doesn't work like that. Usually there's signs at a very young age. That's why they say that usually there's patterns that people overlook, or the unaliving of animals at a young age, or just the mean behaviors that we show at different levels as we grow and we deal with emotions that we may not understand. So that's what I tried to stay in the humanities part of this. Obviously she knows that she did wrong. She knew she did wrong immediately. There's a lot to me that tells me, like for the most part, I like to stay cold in a case, but because I got real curious with this one. Now, did I deep dive it? No, 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 no. But I do know enough to I know where she left that baby laying in the same position she made sure he never moved from again, right? So, with that being said, she knew consciously, presently, that something wasn't right. She knew it wasn't right. Everything that she heard in her head all of a sudden was no longer validation. So to sit there and then play it off like, well, I was waiting for him to return. No. See, now you're just playing a role to me, and I don't want to get that kind of energy in here. I want to know it. Why? Why did you think that because maybe he had a spontaneous day of goodness, or a smile on his face that you didn't put there, you felt like you needed to permanently erase him from the entire world? Like, there at some point it goes from they made me do it to well, yeah, they possessed me and physically made me do this. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. So it's at this point you realize, and I think that's where she was at for them days, where she kept looking at him, smelling him, feeling the decom stuff happening to him, and there's got to be reality in there somewhere. And I I really want to know where she was at right there, but I can't do it right now because all I want to do is I want to let this little boy know if he ever needs to maybe understand why his mom did it. I want him to be able to do it and not have anything that would hold him here with, well, was I not good enough, or any of that, those shoulda, coulda, wouldas that a little child should never ever experience, in my opinion, I guess. So, I'd like to really deep dive this, but I would want to know that, for one, I feel like he's already crossed over, but I would want to know that my emotions don't get involved, and I think my emotions would get very much involved if I look at the current mind of this. What I feel now is a very transparent role she's playing, because she's trying to carry on with something that she ultimately in her mind didn't necessarily create, but she planned out. You don't just do an exorcism. That's not just something that you just say, oh, okay, I'm gonna go bleach my hair. No, there there's a process that you reached out to a priest, you reached out to somebody, you reached out to some kind of person in Christhood, if you did everything correctly. So you're wondering why he's not coming back. Well, maybe you, for one, made all of the wrong decisions somewhere, but I want to know where. I want to know where she was at right then and there, right before she realized that she totally effed up. And that was her F around and find out moment right then and there. I want to know that moment right before. Like, where were you at? Where were you really at? And what did you really convince yourself of? Like, who in your family knew you were ultimately one day possibly capable of this, and they just kept saying, "Oh, it's just her. Oh, she'll be okay. She'll be all right. It's just her. She'll work it out. She'll get it together." And instead of asking her, showing some kind of initiative, and that she's loved, she's wanted, she could be understood if somebody could reach her. Where was all that at? I'd like to look at all that first. So if you want to know where I'd like to start, I guess right there in the long version.
Okay, and I'm gonna turn my camera on, y'all, and I have on makeup, but I don't look the best. And just don't look at the
Yeah.
background of my room right now because it's a mess. But this is also Ashley's deck, the Reckoning Co, y'all. That's the first tarot reader I ever watched. So she does not like to be idolized. I do not idolize her, but I love her. So, like, you know, but her cards really are good. This is the Missing Variables deck. Do you think that she was going in and okay, because this witness card come out, and with exorcisms, usually there's somebody else there. So I was like, it's like unspoken truth holds vital information, but hesitates to share it. Moral dilemma, struggles with whether to reveal what they know or stay silent. I was there, I saw it, but knowing the truth and saying it out loud, those are two different things.
You just hit a huge, like, woohoo, hello. That's what I
And
was trying
then
to say.
I was gonna maybe look at her energy was when she was a child, maybe, because like I got the grandparent elder card, which could be her parents. The warning and alarm in reverse, which is like kind of like no warning to, we don't have a warning on what her parents were like or what happened, because a lot of times this stuff happens in childhood. The drug poison card and the law enforcement card come out. So it could have been, I mean, she may have had to stay with aunts or something, and there was a lot of law enforcement or drugs and poison, around. We don't know. I was going to pull a few cards just to see if we could get some kind of energy, maybe of what happened to her when she was, or how her childhood was. What's the energy? Oh God, sorry, y'all. I just moved my phone. What's the energy of her? That's probably crooked, yeah. What's the energy of her childhood? just to see. Maybe that would help some. I don't know, but we can
Yeah.
see. So y'all, I'm shuffling these cards. If y'all want to see me shuffle them, I get no gain in just picking cards or like setting the cards up or whatever you say when you play cards, like how they cheat. No, I'm not going to do that because I don't cheat with spirit. I don't play with my I don't play with my soul. I know maybe some people do, but I'm not trying to do all that. So um comes great responsibility with this. Honestly. So yeah. But I'm showing everybody I'm shuffling the cards. These are the horror tarot deck. The question I'm gonna ask is what can we know about the energy of her childhood, the child's mother's childhood? And I'm gonna do two cards, one come out, and I'll show you in a second. Just the energy around her childhood. So this is the Three of Swords, which is heartbreak, and I think y'all can see this card. I don't. And then this is the Knight of Cups. The Knight, and it doesn't have to be a like younger person. This really could have even been a father figure or a brother, somebody, you know, just a male figure. So someone that should have been responsible for showing her love and care, bringing that to her to the table, heart broke. So there was some kind of, I'm going to say abuse because that's what I feel like that is abuse, neglect, something besides just, it wasn't just simply abandonment because I don't think I could be wrong, but I don't think just abandonment would cause a manifestation of everything. I do think that maybe she went in and out of consciousness, like Hershey said that I do think some of the time she didn't know what was going on, but in the end she knew, kind of like, I'm going to compare this to Idaho where they should have called 911 but didn't, where when she was doing those things to him, she knew something was wrong, but also where the heck was the school? Whoever was supposed to be supervising this lady, like with this, where were they? Because I kind of feel like she thought somebody was going to come in and stop her, sort of. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like she's maybe been thought in these thoughts before, maybe not an exorcism, but had bad thoughts before, and somebody come in and it's, you know what I mean? Like, triggered it to stop or whatever. And I feel like she thought somebody was going to come in and stop it, and they didn't. But I really either feel like she has multiple personalities and she's a witness and the suspect, or somebody else was there, besides just a little boy. So, and I'll see what Hershey says about that. But that's the energy I got, and I got chills from that. So usually that means something.
So before I go into like what I got, I just want to say everything you just said. I was like, is there anything that I need to follow with what you're speaking on what your cards are telling you, the intuitive part of what you're picking up on your cards, right? So these three cards, literally, like, cards have been hitting the floor, and y'all know how that is for me. If it hits the floor, it's at the door. Whether it's your door, my door, somebody's door, it's at the door. It's the head part of the issue, right? So these three didn't hit the floor, but they jump right in my lap, and they are literally House of God, Ten of Swords, and Judgment, right? So right now, for what's going on, these three, for them to jump out. So if you don't, or if you're not familiar what House of God is, so this would be your Tower card. So, but this is a Tower card on a different kind of level. Um, one day maybe I'll break that down. But anyway, this is your Tower card, right? So that's the universe stepping in and taking everything from under you and putting your feet up in the air because you're not paying attention, right? Then we got Ten of Swords going on with everything on top of it. You're still not understanding that it's not happening in a way that it was manifested to happen. You put yourself in this situation. Now you made this bed, you have to lie in it. And then on top of it, like I said, we've got Judgment. So she knows what's ahead of her, and she knows what's going on. But she has to stay in this mental perplexity that she created. So that's the three that jumped out. So if I go back to the beginning on like just what I got, like, on what kind of childhood did she have? Like I said, I want to just see where it might have been, and I was curious, and it was kind of exactly what I thought was going to happen, right? The very first card that fell out is the Ouija. So in this deck, this represents me. That I talk to the dead, I work with the dead. So because the card fell out, I'm gonna leave it open, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna open a door and maybe even turn the S box on. But I need to pull all of her energy away from me before I allow a door to be open for innocence to come through, because I don't want to get the lines blurred. So, but right now I just want to talk about like that mental part of what, for first of all, what did she grow up in, right? So I feel like she grew up in a place where, for one, justice wasn't even an option. It may even have been extremely, like, to the point where there's some people that take uh religion just way too far. Sometimes they're quite abusive with it, right? They do self penance, they do penance on their children, they do some very cruel things, right? So with justice in reverse in her childhood, I feel like she really didn't have a lot coming in. I feel like when it did come in, though, it came in real hard and real heavy. You got Six of Swords in reverse, and you got that Eight of Wands coming in. So these two, being that this one's in reverse, they're saying the same thing, right? I feel like the abuse, whether it was mental, physical, emotional, however it came in for her, the unjust for her, I feel like that was the childhood she brought right into having children, because she didn't know or have a different example, right? So I was like, what were the parents, right? So I get Five of Swords for the mother, and of course I got the dang on one of the devils again for the father. So I don't believe her parents may have set a good example for her to be a parent in the first place. So, just throwing them cards out of the way, um, I looked at like the mental part of where she's at, right? Like what maybe possibly led up to where she's sitting right now, which is inside someone's county jail or wherever she's sitting at, right? Prison, jail, I'm not sure. So the first thing that pops out is what? Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, right? I feel like they would have seen these signs, right? Because if it would have been upright, it would have said they need to interview her, right? But it's in reverse. So this is telling me that almost probably her entire existence, there's been a dual personality. And instead of making it aware, once she realized that it took a while for it to be realized she had a dual personality, she'd already mastered it, right? So she'd already gotten real comfortable in her uncomfortable. Trust me, I understand when you're trying to wear a mask and convince everybody that you ain't got no mask on, right? That dual reality of what is to come for you is constantly going to be like a constant pull at your heartstrings that you're doing, and in your mind you're always going to have that uncontrolled chaos in your mind, because you're constantly going to be battling yourself. You're not going to be able to battle demons outside of you, because you're too busy battling yourself. So I do believe that she had a way of compartmentalizing the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, so that people couldn't realize. They only recognized one or knew one because it was a flip of a switch for her to go from one to the other. And maybe that person didn't even realize it happened right in front of them. But there was always a switch that she found controllable and easy, right? I believe in her superstition in her teenage years. We got superstition, and a disrespect to the unknown shows up. And I do believe that it was with her handling money somehow. I feel like money was involved one way or another. I'm not saying that it was a lot of money, but I do believe that money led her somewhere, whether it was her needing it and happened to do things maybe she didn't want to do, and it led her to a place where she found superstition, right? In the teenage years, I do believe that something that was maybe she didn't even know she didn't need it then either, but it was that teenage years. We think, we know everything, right? And I do believe it was in those years, in them teenage years, that she found out that there was a connection to what she believed superstition to be. But because it fell out in reverse, this tells me that she was already on the wrong path when she started. And that's the fact that because she's already living a dual personality, and that dual personality has got a magnet on it, but that magnet isn't going for positive. It's being charged and fed by negative, right? So because it's a dual, not a not a skip and a hold your hand in the park. It's an actual duel that's going on. That magnet becomes fed by negative, right? So the superstition, that's why it's in reverse. She wasn't led to make the choice. Do you want to go this way or this way? It was, I think it was something that was within her. I do believe that she practices some kind of active spiritual magic, whether she does it in the right way or not. And they paired not like broken magic, but just like, I would say, black magic. Instead of just practicing magic that has no negative or positive, it's just magic. It's up to the person that's exhibiting the magic. Had it been upright, I feel like she would have been maybe knowing the difference between the healthy and the unhealthy, but because it's in reverse, I don't believe she thought there was anything other than just the way she was doing it. So she kind of self-convinced herself of that. But I do believe there are family members, because this shows up in the future part, and it also states that there are multiple people that recognized there was something mentally going on within the individual herself. And with her maybe practicing the black arts, she was feeding the negative with just more negative, and not really grasping a hold of a reality that was going to help her see what she did as wrong. Maybe now she does, but I don't think she did then. But I do believe she does now, that she went through the part of the body that releases, and she left the body there and lived with the body and saw the body, checked on the body every day until they took the body. So yeah, I think that part maybe snapped her right back into reality, and she's like, oh, it's over with. So now I think it's a role play, but that's where I'm at with that one.
Okay, and then while Hershey was doing that, I have these mediumship cards. These are from Ashley also, but they're on the back of them. They have songs and like just interest, different things that can trigger whenever you're doing mediumship readings. Now I'm reading these a little bit different with him because I think he's trying to tell us some things about his mom, but Blackbird by the Beatles, I've never read those lyrics, y'all. I probably will when we get done with this, but y'all can do that as well. And things that stick out from those lyrics could tell more information. Interest, playing instruments or singing. I feel like he liked to sing, and maybe Hershey was like he was feeling giddy that day, or it may have been something with music or something he was doing. Maybe he was listening to music. Also, on this card, it's like the world, and it's kind of like kids standing around the world, but a special event or anniversary. So it makes me wonder if when his mom wanted to do this exorcism, if this was not some kind of event or something that triggered her maybe around that time, or even the day of. These to me, like I said, are not like him at this point he is speaking to people in his family, but it's like him speaking to us some about the way now that he is where he is, can see and process that maybe his mom, he understands a little bit more, of course, because when he was here, he was not really supposed to understand that. But, his soul is not the same. Like when you cross over, I'm not going to say his soul is not like a child still, but you have a better understanding. Some patterns repeat until you decide to change them. And honesty with yourself is the first step toward clarity. So I believe what he's saying is that there were times that his mom knew she needed help and she could have changed the patterns that she was on by getting them. But I can't exactly say why. It could be fear. It could be because she just didn't want to put in the work. She didn't know how. She may not have had the support system. Excuse me. But um the cycle she would have been breaking is one that was passed down for generations. So I feel like this is like maybe generations of abuse in some way. You know, it could have been both parents that suffered abuse, one parent, or, you know, and it goes, it's just like generations and it's passed on till it's broken. Um, it would, a story that no longer serves her. I mean, it should have been a story that no longer served her. Um, let's see, letting pain define your choices. And he's saying some things are out of your hands, and that's okay. I don't want to say he's okay with what happened, but he accepts that this was his soul's journey. You know what I mean? Letting go isn't the same as forgetting. So he's saying, you know, letting go. This is a story for everybody. Just because you let go doesn't mean you forget. And forgiving is not always for, it's not for the other person. A lot of times it's for us. And you can forgive someone and still stay away from them. I mean, you know, a lot of times that's what we have to do. And fear has been holding you back more than reality has. The past can't change, but the way you carry it can. So I believe honestly that he's telling us that there was, like Hershey was saying, it's not like his mama was completely out of her mind, like, and could not come back from it. So there was times that this cycle could have been broken that it wasn't. Now, whose fault that is, I mean, I don't technically matters. It's just that when, you know, we, as long as we are in our right mind, we have free will, and the choices we make have consequences, whether they're good or bad. That, you know, depends on what choice it is we make. So, and not all bad choices are like horrible things, because we have to make mistakes, but these are things that, like, I think she realized the abuse and it could have been broken, and she just didn't take those opportunities to do that. So that's what I'm getting with those cards.
Kind of like that. That's kind of beautiful, and it 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 almost kind of goes with what I got too, in a way, right? So, um, when he was here, or well, at least the childlike energy I was feeling was here. Um, I had asked them to, let me finish, and a while ago I was calling them in to see, did they want to come in? Did they want to talk? Did they have anything they wanted to say, or were they interested, to just be still but be present? And all I got was just the feeling of knowing that they're okay, you know. They're in a good place. They're not worried, they're not in pain, they're not scared, they don't hurt, they don't have any scars anymore. They feel whole, they felt complete, um, they felt very, very nurtured. It was quite a beautiful feeling. When I went to my deck Alice, which is the embroidered graveyard, which I only pull out when um, when they want me to uh, maybe give a message. That's when I pull the deck out. But anyway, so I opened the deck and I asked for that innocent energy to pick out a couple of cards, and the cards that I got was that, there was a moment where that energy surrendered and found balance in a way that they couldn't find in the living form. It was this form that they're in now, and that's when they went adrift, and they decided to cross that veil to go into a space they hadn't been before. Not only did they find peace, they found truth. They didn't have to seek for um, love. or nurturing or just peace. They found it. So they're in a place that everything is in abundance now, and they don't want they want justice, but they don't want the punishment to overweigh the crime due to the mental incapacities that are involved in the situation. Um, they do want the 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 ability to be felt again, but felt in a way similar to how you said it with the forgiveness situation, right? Forgiveness isn't for them; it's for ourselves. And in time, the energy is hoping that the others involved will forgive their self for the role they played, for they didn't understand what they were doing in that moment. But now that they do, let them forgive their self and make better choices for the future that is promised or possibly promised for them. So there's a lot of
That's
forgiveness
funny.
going
She
on
got
here.
those because as
Yeah,
she
it's
was
a lot of
talking,
uh-huh.
I have what is this? Six of Swords, which is moving away from trouble. And this, like I said, is the after tarot deck. So they've already moved away and they're carrying their thoughts, their, swords are thoughts, tongue, what you speak, but they're leaving two swords. They're carrying what they need to, but they're leaving the pain and the other stuff behind. They're taking the love with them. And also Ten of Pentacles, which is an abundance of a family. So he is with, and that gives me chills, like family. I mean, I know it's not his mom, but it's like with loved ones now. He's with what he needs in abundance now to be okay. So yes, I think he is okay as well. And Hershey, I was getting strong vibes about like that Texas thing. We were gonna do the Bluebird lake or whatever, but that's like sort of come to a standstill. And so I was getting more vibes like about doing the people movement, the children movement thing going on in Florida.
Okay.
If you want to do that next. Y'all, let me let this dog back in here because she's about to drive me crazy. 1 second. Where's she at? Hello. You got her? Yes, she's crazy. Dog, she's old, y'all. So she whines by everything. I don't know. She's just old. So she's really old. Let's see. So there is, I don't know if y'all heard, and I haven't done a lot of research on this. I don't watch I don't have a TV in my house, y'all. I don't watch TV. I do not watch mainstream anything. I will listen to it every now and then. Just, but as far as watching it, I don't believe they tell us the truth. So I find other, sorry, y'all, he slammed that door. They're loud. I find other means, and I don't watch news a whole lot just because it gets depressing. But there were the record number of, I think it was children. Some of it could have been young adults, but that Florida actually found, was able to get and retrieve. So that is a good thing. The only bad thing with that is all the trauma and stuff. And I'm not sure how many were missing from actual homes or child protective services or foster home. Like I'm sure there was some of that. But it is, thank God that they are going after this because this is wild. If you look at every state and see how many kids are missing, it is absolutely astonishing. We don't even hear about it. Like we don't even know half the kids that are missing. We hear about 2 or 3 cases and it's like, wait, you think that that's what's missing in the state? No, there's like hundreds of people even missing, but kids especially, and you would think you would hear about that. I mean, we're supposed to have Amber Alerts. I guess people do, like it depends because if you're so far, state of Alabama's, I'm not within the distance of getting all the Amber Alerts. I don't guess. I thought the whole state got them, but that's wild to me that these things go on. And I mean, they just don't, to me, they don't report it enough. They're not pushing it out enough. I guess they really don't want to do that either. So what I wanted to do is Hershey got, my team was very, which makes sense because I'm very passionate about this. I don't watch, if y'all watch Sloan Bella, y'all know I do not watch movies with a lot of like John Travolta, all of them in it, because I'm not gonna watch people that do anything bad to children. I cannot. I just can't. So I don't watch TV. I'm probably cuckoo, most people think, but it's okay. I don't mind being labeled that. So I just wanted to pull some cards and get kind of the energy behind, like, the energy of the kids as a group, and then the energy behind the investigation. I just want to see, and I don't think that all investigators are bad or all police are bad. I'm just saying that allegedly, not facts, my opinion, we might have some higher up people that help move people and children. That's just my opinion, though. So I just want to get some energy on this and just see, what is behind them finding all these at one time, but they can't, like, you just don't hear about this a whole lot. And I know that there are people that do, like, they rescue kids every day, but we don't hear about it a whole lot. So I just want to know what the energy is behind, what's going on. And this was in Florida. I'm sure most of you've heard about it, but it's amazing to me, the stuff that goes on that we don't know about. And in California, y'all, it is a misdemeanor. It is not a felony. You can SELL your kid, like, literally, and it is a misdemeanor. I'm confused. Like, I say this over and over because I'm very confused at how in the hell, and I'm sorry, but how in the hell that is a misdemeanor. Like, I cannot, it won't comprehend. So I refuse to ever go to California either, because I mean, that's just crazy to me. I cannot comprehend that. So I probably sound stupid repeating it, but again, I do not comprehend that. I don't know if there's I don't think there's any other state. They were literally fighting about it. I don't even know why somebody in our government can't go. I know states have their own laws, but that's just like the most idiotic thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Come to California, you can do what you want. It's just a misdemeanor. What do you mean a misdemeanor? It's not even things that carry jail time. It is literally they get probation. So you're just I cannot. So that's where I'm at with that. I do have a lot of emotion in this, so that's why I said I'm going to read on it as a whole, because when emotion gets involved, it's hard to read because you become biased. Most people that do any readings on this would probably be somewhat biased, I think, but yeah, that's just where I'm at with that. So after that long speech, so what can we know about the energy of the? Okay. You know how I want to do this? I want to do the energy of the kids, the energy of the law enforcement, and the energy in between, just to see what that is. Okay, so let me turn this camera on. Sorry, y'all. I'm just leaving this thing up, so I'm trying to stay out of it, so y'all don't really have to look at me, just the cards. But okay. So, oh my God, that's a mess behind me for real. I need a filter. I ain't even put one up, y'all. It's all reality today. That's all I can say. It's just all reality today. So y'all don't look at the mess behind me.
Ain't no mind to the man behind the curtain. No, I'm just talking.
Yeah, moving stuff and everything, like trying to get it just a mess, just a mess. Okay. So I'm shuffling the cards, y'all. I'm using After Tarot, and I'll probably use the Whispers of the Unsolved. So let's get the energy of the kids, the energy of law enforcement, the energy in between. So the children, I'm just going to do this like that. well, that makes sense. 9 of Wands, they were in, defensive mode. This tarot card has 2 people. So to me, that just represents more than one child, of course. Defensive mode, of course, they're going to be nervous about, like, are these really law enforcement? What's really going on? Because there's no telling what they were told, who these other people were. They could have been told that these people were safe and they weren't. So this is also resilience too, still standing, but it's a defense mechanism too, still standing after the battle. So these kids had been through it, but they're still standing there, with resilience, but also a defense. The star card, and I feel this card. She's already in the lake or the pond or whatever that is, with the cups. And then this card is like the wish come true, the getting your way card, emotionally fulfilled. He's usually sitting there like and happy, and there somebody's bringing him food. So it's like they realized there was hope that was real and manifest. I'm sure they manifested it too because they prayed about it, but they were then offered some kind of, I'm going to say nutrition, but health, that they realized that the other people that they may have been told were there to help them that were dangerous to them, didn't do, which is offer them some type of, thank God, because I was nervous, emotional love and caring. So there was people there, that's just the energy of the kids. Just because our corrupt system, y'all, I always have a eye on law enforcement just looking at them. That's just me. Okay, let's get the energy of the law enforcement that was behind, like, y'all, this didn't just happen out of happenstance. I think there was an investigation or something planned for them to go after these people. So I want to get the energy behind that, because we pretty much have the energy behind the law enforcement that was there with the kids. Just by the kids' energy, because they're saying that they were showing love, support, and helping them in ways that they hadn't been for however long, which is scary and sad. So behind the investigation, the true investigation, what is the energy of those? Okay. Hang on, y'all. Let me get. I'm not doing this in the camera, but y'all, I'm shuffling. Okay, so the Queen of Swords is in reverse, and then the Seven of Wands is upright, and the Seven of Wands is actually usually the defensive card, but now these people are fighting. So in this case, with the Queen of Swords being in reverse, I feel like it's not that the law enforcement wasn't being truthful. The people that actually had to plan this had to be sharp with their tongue. They had to be colder acting. It's not that they were mean, but they had to give direct directions that may have sounded harsh because of the situation. And then they knew that this was going to be not just protecting these kids, but fighting for them. So that makes me feel better too. So they went at this with not the normal Queen of Swords, like just smart talking. They did have to go at it with more cold intentions to be able to fight for these kids, to show them this loving energy. So I'm not saying that every one of the investigators or whatever. I'm just saying for the most part, the main energy I'm getting is that this was something that I'm trying to, okay. So what I'm saying is these people didn't have a hand in these kids actually being moved and then help rescue them. That's what I was getting at when I was reading this, because that's where my mind goes. Sorry, but that's where it goes. So, which is probably not nice, but I can't help it. That's just where it goes. So I am glad to have those cards come up. I'm going to do one of these cards, and I'm going to let Hershey see what she got. No regret. So there's no regret in that stupid dog. He just scared me to death. There's no regret in the way they went about doing this for imprisonment to get these people. Yep. And I threw the cards to get these people caught, to release the kids so they could be in freedom because they were not, and then communication. So to me, there was a lot of communication, of course, that happened to be able to do this. And their communication had to be more harsh than just nice, like, oh, yeah, we're going to do this and this. It was more direct and harsh sounding because of the situation. And that's what I got, Hershey.
So I'm okay. So first for me, what I got is I went ahead and I turned my box on because I had this incredibly overwhelming, heavy female presence that is very bossy, and I felt like she had a lot to say, right? And I was trying to make sure that she was possibly directly tied to the situation. And in a way, do I think she is? No, because I think she is possibly a grandmother to um so I feel like somewhere when they investigate this, they're going to find a woman involved, right? And of course, you don't want to think that the nurturer, the woman, the mother, or of any kind would be involved, but she's way high ranking, right? Like she's not your low level napping them off the street corner, so to speak, role. She has a CEO position in this overall bad guy ring that I'm looking at right now, right? I feel like the person that is coming in is a bossy example setter. I don't want to say like mob or mafia, but that's the kind of vibes I'm kind of picking up on this woman, right? Like she was somebody's well, just don't look left around her, right? Make sure that you're constantly looking right, because I feel like she would rather take you out than try to explain why looking in the wrong direction could cost you your life. So she's coming through at a very long distance because of my boundaries, but she's letting me know that it was they were groomed. I think this is a corporation that has been well groomed. I don't like it to sound like that, but somewhere in this woman's energy that's coming through for me, there is an unconscious switch that is full of disgusting desire for that not adolescent, what is the age, like that teenage um part of a woman's life when she becomes well, fertile, able to be a woman now. That monthly auntie that don't know woman really want to come around. Okay, I feel like she's until that moment happens. I believe that she pretends to be something of a nurturing role, hiding the predator value within her. But they're not going to see it until they start like climbing the ladder to see how many people are actually involved. But I do believe that these children, a lot of them are led, and I do believe you said something about like a wishing well. I got the reverse concept. I believe that the older children that were able to think for themselves may have been led to this situation due to, oh, I'm doing a photo shoot and you'd be the perfect model, or puppies or kittens or free candy, or something that they knew would lure this older individual child out to them. So I do believe it was full of like some kind of wish or fairy tale or gift of some kind or opportunity. Um, Along with that, I got that the predator perpetrator has shown severe behavioral patterns and in a way that they can twist spiritual judgment into literally making them go from being victimizer to victim. Like they can twist the plot very quickly. I feel like this female energy over here, she lives in a constant state of chaos, constantly. I feel like because she's always having to look over her shoulder. And this is just one individual, but this is the one that's coming through the loudest for me. I believe that she has a very argumentative disposition. I believe that she does a lot of shady deals with people, again, that would falsely think something else is going on. Somebody's literally filling their wishing well, but it's a dry well. There's literally nothing there. It's all a bunch of BS. There's constant manipulation going on, right? This hermit in reverse tells me that there is a lot of deceit and manipulation and conniving going on, right? There's not just one person that's making this go round. There is a plethora of predators involved, right? Like, and then they paired this with synchronicities, which is look at the numbers, right? Look at the numbers. When you start adding up how many people are involved in this, you get a whole lot of people that, even though they know it's wrong, right? This 5 energy, they know it's freaking wrong, but they don't care because the value of the dollar. Look at that. Look at that greedy individual with this 4 of coin. This is that Scrooge that's going, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care what's going on. I don't care that it's because of a victim. I don't care about that. I believe that there's a lot of cameras going on. And again, if you look back at this card, specific types of victims, if you look at what you are looking at, you're looking at a specific age range or a similarity or synchronicity to the victims. And there is a lot of tracks that can be located through possible digital evidence that will lead to a lot of important clues when people start looking at the amount of someone's residence that has an excessive amount of cameras or surveillance. Somebody's going to get a hunch. And I don't know who this person is, but somebody that's in the legal system right now is outside of the initial circle that's doing the investigation. But this person, they're going to get a hunch and they're going to start that this individual that's going to get a hunch, whoever this individual is, they're going to get a hunch about something. And when they do, it's going to open up a can of worms for someone. And it's also going to start pointing fingers at who possibly this damn mentally gross ringleader is, and it's going to be a little bit disturbing possibly just to find out. And that these 60 that were rescued ish, they're going to find possibly hundreds of children that are no longer either available or possibly still able to rescue, but there's going to be an astronomical number of unreachable or unfortunately unalived that couldn't be saved before the finding of these 60 and figuring it out. Once someone really hones in on trusting their gut and just knowing there's just something not right here. It doesn't matter what's going on right here and right here. Stop looking at the distraction. Look right here. It's going to glitch. There's something going to happen. But until that person steps in, I don't think they're going to really take it up as high as they can because they're too busy worrying about all the rest of the distractions and just making it look nice and tidy. And there's nothing nice and tidy from what it looks like to me about this. It's disgusting, corrupt, and I think there's going to be a lot of people that need to pay for this.
Okay, so the distraction card come out. That's funny.
Mhm. Yep.
Also, hidden network, which is a group of people, organized crime, which is what they've done. Money is the reason. That is their strategy. AI in reverse, so fake information, but in reverse, real information, and high vibes in reverse, which low vibes, because that's what those people have, of course. So I also got collateral damage, into the unknown, a chase through dark and dangerous territory, um, following faint trails in search of answers, the risk of the unknown in pursuit of justice, and then obstacles faced by the investigators in pursuing justice, attempts to bury evidence or intimidate witnesses. So, and scandals that pit ethics against ambition. So, I think that's all of what they're going to face too. And Hershey, if you don't mind, I'm going to go off the whole thing for 1 second. Hershey will be here. I've got to do something really quick, and I will be right back, y'all.
Okay. Ooh, so I see you guys been keeping up in chat, and I've been trying to keep up with chat. So let's see. Um, I really do want to look at that case to Kane for Idaho. I don't know how much time we have left for today, but I absolutely can look at it. I don't have a real busy day today, so if we don't get to it right now, maybe this afternoon or something, um, we can take a look at that, or I can just take a look at it. I don't know what her schedule looks like for this afternoon. I'm definitely I'm interested. I'll get it out. Hey, brother Thomas. Hello. Oh, thank you for the shout out there on links. Appreciate you guys today and tomorrow. Let's see. And she'll be right back. All right. So the spirit box was just literally saying words like uh many times, like multiple times it happened. So I don't know. I wonder just exactly where it's going to ultimately lead the right individual that puts some kind of connection together. Um, so the missing in Idaho. Just while we're waiting on her to come back, let me see if is there anything with the missing in Idaho? Let me see. There was a comment in here about, like, just so I have a reference. Is it children? Is it grown adults? 2 missing teens. Okay, teenagers. Teenagers. Let's see. Teenager. Does anybody want to talk to me about the 2 that are in Idaho that are missing? Are they still on this side? Are they alive? Could you repeat that? Hmm. Hold on. Oh, let's see. I'm just grabbing my dowsing rods. See if I can. Did you say did you say they're alive? Is that what you said? They I think the box just said they're alive. There is a silent question out there, and I would like to receive the answer, please. Rocky. What is Rocky? What's Rocky? I got a confirmation on my dowsing rods that they're possibly alive. What? So it said it said it's a high climb and rocky. So are they being held against their will, or are they just lost? They wandered off. Where did they wander off from? Could you repeat that? It almost sounded like it said from a preacher. Like, where could where did they wander off from? It doesn't have anything to do with that. Okay, okay. So, what can you tell me about the teens that are missing? Can you confirm or deny if they are still with us on this side? Would anyone like to answer the question? If not, I understand. Leslie? Who is Leslie? Leslie, do you know anything about the two teenagers that are missing? Divine insight just fell out. Can you see them? Leslie, can you tell me where they're at? Leslie, are you still here? Greetings to you too. What is your name? Fenmore. Fenmore, how are you? Hello. This is not an open channel. I'm only receiving answers right now. So if you don't have any answers, please come back later when the door is open for the open door. Thank you. Hmm. Close the session right now. Hmm. So divine insight fell out, intent and flame fell out, so that candle magic is going on. And then we also got this dual personality again, this Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but it's in reverse this time, right? So um I really don't know. I like to be cold on cases, but at this point I'm not I'm not really picking up on a bad guy energy, right? I'm just picking up on the fact that one person may or may not be does the name Lars mean anything to or around Idaho? Would anyone like to answer that question? There is a written question. Would anyone like to receive it? Leslie. Could you repeat that? Oh, okay. Who is Stanley? Is that a last name? Is it a store? Is it a first name? The third one? So it's a first name? It's someone's first name? Who is Stanley? Is Stanley and does Stanley know where they are? Ask his dad. Who's so oh, his dad would know who Mr. Stanley might be? Ask about the car. Who so there's a car involved here? Is hmm, what am I supposed to ask about the car? Is the car been reported missing? Is there a car involved that maybe no we don't know to look for? Okay, guys, my box just went cold. For those of you who know or work with Spirit Box, once they go cold, they go cold. The energy has moved on. Um, I can try to pick it up again later on. Um, I would like to know, like, we're these are teenage children, 15 and 13. They were last seen in Idaho on a Sunday. So it's not like they would have been in school or anything like that. They could have been at home. They could have been at church. They could have been at some kind of basketball game. They could have been at practice. They could have been doing anything. It's summertime. In most places here in America, school is ending, so it's the last of that. Let's see, 15, that would be high school, right? Like freshman maybe, and then you got junior high going on. So I'm assuming they would have been together, possibly. So I get 3 of Swords, Page of Cups in reverse, 7 of Cups in reverse. Okay, so this Page of Cups, this is a very greedy. This is very greed, like because of greed. So we've got one. We've got one. Okay, so we got one that fall out solo, right? So we got this 3 of Swords over here. We got a broken heart individual, but then we got these 2 that fell out together. So we got this Page of Cups in reverse, and we got this 7 of Cups, right? So because these 2 fell out together, paired together, and the 7 of Cups is covering this very greedy, thirsty individual, I think this is someone that is very stingy, very greedy. They don't know how to make choices. They don't like to make choices. So if I'm looking at this as the 2 teenagers, right, we've got one that's constantly possibly stays in a place of mental depression of some sort, and then we've got one over here that's struggling theirself to make decisions for theirself. Maybe they're not allowed to make decisions for themselves due to the fact that it's paired with a page. So this is that innocent mind mentality. Even if this is the older of the 2, this mentality is that younger mentality that instead of drinking in the knowledge in a good way, they're ingesting it in the wrong way. It's cups, so in reverse, this emotional roller coaster that they're on, because cups are about emotions, not just one, all of them, and they're all over the place, and they can't make a decision about it anyway. So I don't think that mentally they might have been really good kids when it comes to academics or sports is what it feels like, but I think when it comes to like the actual mental functioning of what's going on, I feel like they could have been easily persuaded or manipulated into a situation that once they got there they might not have been able to get out of. I don't know. That's what I got just off the top of my head. Sorry, was just looking at that Idaho case while we were waiting on you to come back.
You're good. That's fine. Uh-oh. Almost hit the wrong button.
Oh
Lord, have
no.
mercy. Okay. Like, y'all, I'm so sorry. I had to like call, like it was like one of those I have to take this right now type calls. So, you know.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right.
Um, hang on one second. Let me respond to this. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like nothing happens until I'm doing something, and then it's like everybody at once. Ah.
Yeah, it's how life is.
What did you do on that? What did you read on the Idaho case? I want to know. I want to know.
The one for the children that were found.
Yeah, the what you were just reading on. Were you doing it the Idaho? Is that what you're doing for the Idaho thing? The kids?
The one Kane asked us to look at, I had just like looked at the overall energy of, well, I asked my spirit box and my team to see if the children were alive or unalive, and my team kind of picked up on not sensing them on the on that other side. So I don't know. I'm not gonna swear to it, but I'm not convinced that they're not still alive. I do believe that maybe, like the description they gave me, they said climb and rocky. So I don't know if maybe they have gotten to a place where maybe they either wandered off and got stuck and lost, and they're in a place that's rocky and maybe higher up than what people are thinking, or maybe they're being held somewhere in a rocky environment against their will. But again, they kept focusing on look higher. So I feel like somebody may be looking in one certain area, but they should possibly maybe look higher up. I don't know why I'm getting that vibe, but I feel like somebody needs to look up, whether it's look up into the mountains, look up into cave situations. But I would strong. I kept getting look up. So I think if they're looking down or at ground level, horizon level, that they're not looking high enough, and they need to expand their look a little bit. And then I just looked at like the general mind of, I felt like academically they're okay, like they're not like in a place where they wouldn't be completely socially awkward, or maybe being picked on or bullied. I felt like academically they're okay, but maybe that they hide some emotional baggage quite well, and even at a very young age they're quite manipulative to maybe a situation that cost them to wander off to begin with, to explore something like that they were curious of, or that they fell into a manipulation kind of ring, and maybe they're a little farther in than they want to be, and can't get to a place where they can break free from a situation. But I'm not convinced that they're not alive. So it's hard for me to really hone in on them outside of someone wanted me to know that someone needed to look up into a rocky situation, and possibly know that they are still alive is what it felt like.
So did you feel like they were taken there, or that they wandered, they went off?
So I got two different vibes. Like I got a vibe like one's kind of down for it, and the other one's just kind of like, whatever. All right, I'll go, but I don't, like not like aloof, but I feel like one can't really make decisions for themselves. They're constantly having mommy and daddy make the choices for them, or there is a individual that they could be hanging with that could be the not ringleader, but the one that possibly was like, no, come on, it's gonna be fun, let's go, let's do it. And once they got to this place, they found out it wasn't what they thought it was going to be, and either could have come in contact with bad guys said energy, but because I feel like they're still alive, and so does my team. I'm not really getting a lot of bad guy energy yet until bad guy does bad guy action, and then I can kind of hone in on that. So I'm not at a standstill. I'm just in a place where I feel like very impressionable children maybe willingly wandered off into something now they no longer have control over, and someone could be controlling them, or it could literally just be the elements of nature, and because of where they're at and where they wandered off to, they no longer are able to free their self, or they're lost and they don't know how to possibly get back to where they were. It's going in two ways, and I don't like it when that happens. I like very direct lines, and right now I'm not getting either direct or anything that's not showing me like, well, it could be this or it could be this, and it's just like, yeah, I don't like all that. You know, that's a very broad place to be at. Even though it's very optimistic and hopeful that I feel good that they're alive, it's not so easy for me to pinpoint why or what led them to where they are possibly now in a place where they cannot free themselves or get back to where they were due to being in a lost state of mind or body.
Does anybody know in the chat if these are siblings, and has their parents said anything, like just any kind of statement? I'm trying to go from that energy. Let's see. So I'm just going to see real quick if I can pick up on their energy, the day or night, you know, that they, whatever happened. Six of Cups.
So
that's
yes, the chat says yes, siblings. One mistreated and siblings standing by them could be that. 1513 could easily get lost. You would have to go higher to get cell signal if they had a phone. So again, that could be why I'm picking up on that something needs to go higher. Now, whether it's them or like the search party is looking low, the search party needs to go up, and they need to go into a rocky kind of environment like mountain or cave like dwelling situation. So it's quite it's a lot harder for me to pick up on energy sometimes um when there's a lot of variables involved, and teenagers are quite literally many variables themselves because they're all over the place. So like, you know, a good healthy teenager they should be curious to a lot of different things. So I do feel like it was a agreed upon decision to wander. I just don't think that they realized what they wandered into was what they expected. Mother
the
believes
mother said a
the cult
cult
took
took
them.
them. So
See,
what's
see,
her
that could
energy?
be. Yeah, that could be why it gets a little blurry for me, because I feel like one of them might have been all for it, gung ho, but then because they would have had that broken heart, right? That Three of Swords, which in my opinion that's the worst card in the deck, right? So that Three of Swords, their heart's already broken. They're already sad about something, right? So they're already looking for an answer somewhere because somebody didn't give them the answer they were looking for, or maybe someone died in their life and it broke their heart, because why did they die? Why did they have to die? You know, that's brokenheartedness on a teenager that doesn't always understand death. And then the other one, I feel like, can't really make decisions for themselves. I feel like there's always a strong parent making that decision, or a lot of forced thoughts because they don't know how to choose. So I feel like one would have been like, yeah, just come go with me. You don't have to. If you don't like it, we'll leave. So I feel like there was some coercion going on between like the civil thing, but I do believe that once they got to a certain point, they could no longer free themselves now, due to the fact that somebody's holding them against their will, or they're just outright freaking lost. I do believe there's something much more going on here than I can pick up on just in without really diving into it.
I asked what the mother's energy was, y'all. This is the horror deck. So the high priestess is someone who can use their intuition, but if you look at this, she doesn't look exactly all nice. So to me, this is the mother knowing secrets that's not that are going to come out because it's upright. So that probably will come out, but they're not right now. And then this is, I'm having to look at the Nine of Swords, which is a nightmare, like a nightmare, anxiety, worry. This card says featuring nightmares, debilitating fear, and crippling anxiety. So to me, the secret that the mother knows caused her this.
So somebody, I don't, not to cut you off, is there a Mormon involved with this situation? I don't know where the word or something, but all of a sudden, one of my bad guys just picked up, and they were like, "Is there a Mormon involved?" And I'm like, "I don't know, so I'm supposed to ask. I don't know if you
I'm
know
sure
or someone in chat may know if there's a Mormon involved." Um,
they're in
mm,
Idaho, so I'm sure. Is it
ooh,
Moscow, Idaho,
gee.
y'all, or is it the same? Is it the
Ooh.
same?
I don't know. Oh my god, like I got chills all over my body. Like they were like, "Is there a Mormon involved?" I'm like, "I don't know what." Sorry to cut you off. Oh my gosh.
No, that's fine. Let's see. So
And I asked the box. Yeah, Tarot Your Way says, Hershey, you asked the S box if someone might know where they were, and the box said, "Ask the pastor." Because I'm like, wait, did the box just say ask the like ask the pastor? I forgot all about that. Yeah, my spirit box did say ask the pastor, and now they're saying, is there a Mormon involved? So I'm like, oh wait, hold on, wait.
look,
I don't know
and
where
then
this is
these
going, but it's
cards.
getting real creepy real quick.
Look,
I don't
these
feel
are
Christhood in this situation at all. I feel the opposite of Christhood. Woo!
yeah. This is like this Four of Wands. Reunited and reconciled. The monster comes home. Then there is the Ten of Pentacles. The gang's all here, so that's like, you know. And then we have the Eight of Pentacles, the Apprentice, and y'all see all the head, like just the. And there was like a missing one, so it's like I don't know if maybe the mother, like, because all of that stuff starts to get weird. So, and then I just picked a card, the Nine of Wands. Survival is a matter of perseverance and vice versa. So that's
That's creepy.
and then the
Oh.
lovers come out too. It says love is grand, but it always leads to trouble.
Whew.
And look, there's a mountain or volcano or some in the background of that. So
I see it. Yeah, it does look well from my angle. It does look like a mountain is back there,
and
like
it's like,
shadowing
yeah, it's like
everything
it's
like
wait
that.
a minute.
After all that, there's
If I
still a
can find
mountain
it.
to climb.
And smoke. Yeah. And there's like
Wow.
smoke.
Yep. Oh
That's
man.
crazy.
Oh
That's
wow.
that
What?
is. Let's do one of these missing variables, y'all, to see if we can get just maybe a little bit more information.
Is Kane still in
Sometimes,
chat? Kane, have you picked up on anything? Like, have we or anybody else? I'm like, everybody's just like, holy crap, there's a whole lot going on, and something about Jeff Warren. They're the 78 wives. The Jeff Warren cult.
this is Three
Where's that?
of Spades. It's a trail of blood, a violent path leading to the truth. A witness caught between two dangerous forces, evidence tampered with or destroyed. The cracks in an airtight story begin to show, and layers of deceit obscure the truth. there's like a crack in that foundation. So there's something going on at home. That's what that tells me. Like there's something going on at home that we don't know about that, and I'm getting chills with that led to this. So there's some kind of, and
I
we
got the
may not
twist.
supposed to know right now, but there's something very important that we don't know. Are you picking up on that, Hershey?
Yeah, I was just showing you, I got 3 of swords too, like, oh shit. It's crazy. It's
Let
crazy.
me do some of these true crime cards, y'all.
Wow.
My hair, it's humid here today and it's been raining, so I'm like, don't want to be on camera, but I mean, I will be, but I'm just, yep, bloodline, family, lineage. Like literally, I can't make this shit up, I swear. And then war in reverse. So some kind of internal battle that nobody knows about. Like, that says truth. So that tells me that we're halfway on the right page. Secluded area. Yeah, they're in a secluded area somewhere. Like, and there's mountain. Look at all those. Look, that's mountains and all of that. Secluded area. I mean, that looks like Idaho. If nothing looks like Idaho that I have, that looks like Idaho. That's crazy. Yep. And secret that's going to come out, and surveillance in reverse. So somebody knows where they are. They're not saying though. Female in reverse. Tunnel underground. Inside. So outside. They're outside somewhere. And that card, y'all, I'm not even going there. So there's some kind of weird shit. It doesn't always mean perversion. It's some kind of weird shit though. It could, I mean,
seriously disturbing. Wow. Nothing half-assed says they need to care more about the kids in these communities. They are not even required to go to school and are being married off to older men. Why do rules not apply in Amish and LDS and Scientology too? So, well, yeah, I get that they have like the homeschooling and all of that, and I will that, but Mennonite or Mormon. What did they ask me to ask? Was there a Mormon involved or something
Mormon,
like that?
Mormon,
So
yeah.
that the Mennonite, the Amish, like aren't they all kind of like different feathers on a peacock? Like they all kind of go together in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Like when you put
Yeah,
them in
I
a car,
think,
they all look real pretty together.
I mean, I'm not sure exactly how the Amish work, but from what I see of Mormons, like well, I mean, y'all, this is allegedly not fact, my opinion, and the rabbit hole I went down. I don't do organized religion because they're all controlled, but like,
That's true.
it's sort of like to me, the Mormons are actually Satanists that portray themselves as Christians. I don't know that all of them are like that, but that's like what the vibe I get. Like they're like literally, it's weird. But
Oh yeah.
there's fear. This is not a plot twist. So this has been planned. This story did not change. Whatever happened to these kids, this is not a plot twist. So the plan has been the plan, and lies in reverse, which is truth. So
So
I feel like the mother or somebody at home has feared this because she knew that this, and that don't make any sense to me. Like I can't make it make sense right now, but there's just something that she knew was going to be coming. And I don't know, maybe she sent the kids off. Did you, I mean, she may have,
Oh yeah.
that could have been the thing. She may have sent the kids off so that they couldn't find them. I mean, I don't know that that's the case, but or had one of the kids' friends say, "Hey, do you want to go here?" I mean, I know I come up with some crazy stuff in my head, but it could be anything. Like, it could be anything.
It could be, and that's the scariest part. I have a dear friend of mine, and he was, as a child, he was raised Mormon, but he eventually chose and walked away from that. And now that he's a grown man, he has his own belief of what his faith is. But I'm gonna ask him, like, and I know he won't be offended with my questions. He's probably the only one I could go to and say, "Well, was it a cult, or did it feel like that to you, or was there specific roles that were played by maybe differently than the woman versus the man, the congregation or whatever you call it? I don't know. I don't have a lot of like per se religious friends, so there's not a lot of people I can go to and just innocently ask a bunch of questions that I ultimately don't have in my life. So they're honestly innocent questions. I may not like the answer I receive, but at least I do have one person. So I'm gonna reach out to that person and not necessarily do an interview, but just kind of see like what it may possibly have been, because I grew up off and on in the Midwest, so there was always Amish and Mennonites buggies going down the road as I was driving down all the roads in Missouri, and it's just like I wonder what it's really like. And then you see all these TV shows about, growing up Amish or leaving the Amish or the Amish cult or the Amish this or whatever that. And it's just like, well, these are everybody's interpretation and opinion, but to the outsider, it looks one way, due to what our concept of religion is, or even if we don't even have a concept, we just have a philosophy of what religion looks like. I think there's so much more going on here, but I definitely think there is some sneaky, underhanded, dirty uh, people are playing by the rules very fairly. And I do believe there's a lot of innocent children being hurt, and I don't like it. It seems cruel. I don't like it. And they're using it in the world of religion, so that makes it even scarier. So I don't know. There's a lot of people that need to stand for their actions right now. I paid my uh manslaw crime, and I paid my time, so to speak. So I do believe in consequences, and I do believe there's a bunch of consequences that need to be paid here, like in advance
Things
and
cut
in
off.
full. That's just my opinion.
But anyways, I'm not sure like what it was, but something like I guess freaked him out, and he refuses to ever go to church again. But
Understand?
I'm not saying that all Mormons are like that, y'all. I'm just saying like when we were in school, they could bring stuff to the school, Jehovah's Witness, and then Mormons, and then um the Latter-day Saints people. I know my mama wouldn't let me read anything they gave us. Just and I mean I never went to church with my mama, but she was very funny about what I read or whatever. Um to me, all control, I mean, there's all controlled. Um, I'm not getting into that because I know a lot of people have different beliefs and I don't argue with anybody. You're free to believe what you want to. I had to go down a rabbit hole myself because in order to do what I am doing now with tarot, I had to not be scared I was going straight to hell. So, I had to go down that whole rabbit hole myself, and just the stuff that you find, I do not believe God is of confusion. And when our Bible is of confusion, I don't think it come from God. That's just my opinion, y'all. And I'm not saying everybody has to believe that. It's not up for argument. I'm just saying that's just what I think. And so also when I would ask preachers, they either would tell me I was going to hell for asking that question, or literally they would just tell me I've stumped them and they have no idea what the answer is. So I don't really go to humans for that anyway. We're not supposed to, and the Bible even tells you that. I don't need somebody. I'll just go to God and ask Him. One way or another, He'll give me the answer. That's what I use tarot for. To me, it's all intention. You can have an intention of doing bad with it. If you are manipulating energy or trying to steal somebody's husband or boyfriend or doing something that you're doing in the dark under secret that you don't want everybody to know about because it's not right, then that's probably not a good intention. And that is where bad things come in. That's why Hershey's one of the only ones I listen to when she does a spirit box, because she's very direct with her spirit team and she will cut that shit off in a heartbeat, because you can't see. And so if you get a lot of cussing all the time and stuff, it's probably not a positive spirit. And, but Hershey's very direct with her spirit box. And so that's why I listen to her, because people with spirit boxes, and it's not just that they mean to, there's different things that can come in. You can't see. So you're not sure exactly And so she's very like, if y'all, I don't want that kind of answer. And if y'all do that, I'm cutting all this shit off. And that, she's one of the very few people that I won't have a spirit box because I'm not that controlled I'm not that confident or controlled in doing that. But you do have to tell spirit exactly. They don't look on the other side it's direct communication. You need to tell them directly exactly what you're looking for. And a lot of people, I think that's why they have a hard time getting to where they want to be, because they think that, spirit's just going to say, okay, well, I know that it's this. No, because they don't assume stuff. You have to call them in. You have to give them permission, because we all have free will. And that's where the intention comes in. That's why I'm just like, black magic is black magic because you are doing things to manipulate energy or, whatever, to get what you want. That's why the Illuminati and all of this and whatever, like in Idaho, all of that stuff is connected, y'all, in my opinion. If it's Masons, mini Masons, little sorority stuff, like they're all connected. They all do the same thing. But a lot of them have intuition. They know things, but the reason it's different is because their intention with what they're doing is for personal gain and to keep them on top, to keep them rich, to keep them this, to keep them that. They sell their voice or their God-given gift to the devil and then have to buy it back from the devil. And why are you doing all that? God gave you that. The devil don't need it, in my opinion. Satan don't need to control that. So, what are you doing? So, and it's all about money and clout and personal gain. And I mean, that's all of that, I believe, has ties in with each other. But that's just my opinion. And I don't know that all Mormon churches are that way, but on that side of the world, most of them seem to be like a cult, more cult behavior than a lot, in my opinion.
There's a lot going on, and not understanding religion quite the same as other people, and then actually studying religion. And I took a whole year's class of religions of the world, and I studied it for an entire year with a professor that had been to hundreds of countries and studied and invested and found himself in multiple religions. And until you actually literally, in my opinion, dive into what religion is in the category or the genre you're looking at or into, until you find out, yes, I'm in there too, and that's inside of me, and find a way to make the philosophy of all of it become one band, one sound, one love within you, um, you might not be able to understand what it looks like to other people, that are trying to listen to another man say, well, it has to be this way, it has to be that way, and you have to
Yeah,
have
because I don't know
dictatorship
who
and all that.
decided.
So, yeah, it gets real
My
messy. So,
question, my question was, who decided that and y'all, I believe in Christ, so I do believe in Jesus. I don't know that I believe the story the way the Bible said it. I do believe Jesus healed. I do believe Jesus was an ascended master. I believe that. Um,
mhm,
I'm not sure
I don't know.
exactly, and it's okay that I don't know all of that. That's the way I feel. I was not there, so I'm not sure everything that happened, but I don't know who, like, to me, a lot. I'm not saying every one of them, but a lot of people that say they're Christian are very judgmental, and then they holler they don't judge. And how do you know? I just asked the preacher, how did he know that this was the one religion, the only one that was getting you to heaven? Like, what? I mean, that just baffles me because God's never told me that. I'm just saying. So I'm not, because somebody's telling me that that's what I'm supposed to believe. And I've always had that question. When I was 4, I asked that question. I think I got told I was going to hell when I was 4, literally, because I just had a question. And I've always had questions, and you're not supposed to question God. And no, God says, go seek the answer. I was like, that is opposite of what the Bible says. He said, don't, to go seek the answer. And that's just what I was doing. So that's why
Yes,
I got
he said
confused.
he
You
said
know,
to embrace the sin and the sinner and still love them without judgment. So, and I've never read the book ever, but I do know that's in there because somebody that knows that book inside and out, that is the only part they love to remind people of, is stop picking what you want to fit for your life and being judgmental to someone else that's doing the exact same thing you are. Instead of embracing it all as one, you're over here choosing what you want and you're choosing what you want, but then you're mad at each other because you're both picking different things, and then you're nitpicking each other about the things you did or didn't choose to do when you couldn't accept it as what it was to begin with. So I think it's
Well, that's just
hilarious.
like do a lot of the war chats because these people are like, God wants people throwing bombs. I don't think God ever said anything that he wants people throwing bombs at each other. I was like, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And I just cannot with that. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
Like
that's a
God made everybody. He doesn't hate this person or that person. Like, what are y'all talking about? And I'm just like, knowing that I'm a parent and knowing my parents would not just, to me, a lot of going to church is you're not worthy, you're not worthy, you're not. I mean, I don't really think God wants us to feel that way. I was like, I'm not sure that that's the way we're supposed to do this. So that's where I was. And I'm not bashing anybody, y'all. I don't judge because I know I mean, I cannot tell you who's right. I'm just not going to argue with people about it. I feel everybody's relationship with God is their relationship with God. I do believe in God. I don't think we just magically came, and I do not think I come from transformed from an ape into a person. Like, I don't think all that. I just don't. I'm not saying we're not, relate whatever. I'm just saying that I don't think the Big Bang just happened and bam, we were from ape to human. I can't. There had to be somebody to make the grass that the cows, like, it just is too perfect in harmony. So I believe that, yes, there is a higher power. I also believe that unconditional love does not have a but in it. And that's where I'm at with that. So
it's
people don't talk about religion because they
unconditional.
argue, but I
Unconditional
don't.
is everything. When people
Yeah.
say it's only unconditional love, well, you've already put a limit on that word that has no limits. It has no beginning, it has no ending. It's unconditional. You're the one that puts unconditional friendship, unconditional loyalty, unconditional. You're the one that puts the word behind it, and it doesn't even have a word behind it. It itself is unconditional. So to be there is to be in balance to begin with. So if you want to find me, I will always be there. So I get it.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't understand like these psychics. My mama would tell me that because that's what we were told, psychics were bad, but the people finding children, she was like me. She never told me that they weren't, but I was just like, God, why would you send these people to hell? Because they're finding missing children. Like, that baffled me. I was like, what? And then you look in the Bible, John and them got visions. A prophet is a psychic in the Bible. That's what that is. They followed the North Star and took Jesus' presence of crystals, which God made, and this gives me chills. So how is all of that evil? I just don't like, none of that made sense to me. And when you ask somebody, they're just like, well, you're just going to hell for asking that. I was like, who told you this? Like, I mean, where do they think that they got these answers from? They didn't. They're called prophets, but it's all their intention was good, just like ours is. I don't say, God, I want to know everything you don't want me to know. That's not how I do my whatever's for the highest good and whatever we're allowed to know. Because what I don't need to know, I'm not going against God saying I want to know it. I'm not going to some other entity to get the information. I believe it comes from God, however it comes down. Sometimes it comes through. Sometimes I think we get it directly from, because I have a clear knowing. I don't, if I had to hear things in my head, I would lose my mind. There's no way I could not walk into a room. If I heard people talking in my head, I would be crazy. I mean, like literally, I wouldn't be able to do this. So my stuff is a lot of feeling the chills, like feeling the energy and clear knowing. I don't know how I knew that or why I know that. It just happens because God gives you your gifts in the way you can interpret them. And I think everybody has, they may not be psychic. I don't consider myself like psychic, like some people, whatever. I do more of the mediumship stuff than I do trying to predict somebody's future, because energy can change. So trying to predict somebody's future is not always set in stone, because people have free will and energy can change. So, people change their mind all the time. I don't think it's as much important for us to know everything that's supposed to happen to us, because there's some things, people that even do what I do, that do what Hershea do, that Sloan Bella, that don't know everything in the future, because we're not supposed to know. what, I mean, that's just doesn't make sense for us to know everything. It would be too overwhelming. But my intention is always to help somebody, whoever it is. That's why I don't charge a lot of, I mean, I've not done but one reading that, and that's because they wanted to give me money. Because when you come to me and tell me you have somebody that has passed away and you don't understand, or you need to know something, like, my first thought is not how much money am I going to make. My first thought is, okay, let me get what I need to know, because I want to make sure I connect with this person so that I get this, whoever I'm helping, more than not the right answers. You know what I mean? Of what they're trying to say. I'm never going to tell you that I'm going to know everything or get everything right, because we misunderstand things. And I've been doing this for 2 years, and my spirit team is like, quit saying you're not as good as this person or that person. Because I always want to give credit to people, and it's not that I'm not as good. I haven't been doing it as long. So, and people are good at different things. Like Hershey, she can go to the root. I'm probably not supposed to be able to do that because I don't do that. She can go to the root. It's not that she's better than me. She's done this longer than me. She does have a lot more experience. So I go to her for advice. But we live in this world to where somebody's always better than this person or better at it. And that it's not always that way. Sometimes it's that you're meant to do this. This person's meant to do this. People are going to come to me and ask me questions, which they do. I go to my, people like Hershey, people I trust, and ask them questions. And that's the way we learn things. And it's not who's better than what. And in my head, I had stuck. And that's why some of my gifts have not opened up, because I'm like, and it's not that I was mad or jealous. Like, it's a idolizing thing. Like, I had to be careful with Ashley from the Reckoning Code. She does not want people to idolize her, because you're not supposed to. It did become that, I think, a little bit, but it was like more like because I was so intrigued with how she did this, or like she does stuff to this day. I'm like, how in the world? She just puts videos up. And it's because she's worked to get there. She did have, where it come to her, she could do this stuff, but the stuff that she can do now is because she has put in the work to get this, to open these doors and everything else. And I have a control problem. So, my spirit team can tell me this is why I read for myself a million times, this, and this, and I'm still questioning it. I have a control problem. So those are things that I know I have to work on. But my intention is always to help somebody, even with the Idaho 4 kids. They're the first ones I ever connected to. And I'm more like, I feel like listen to me. Xana's my best friend. And I know people think I'm absolutely stark raising, lost my mind. And I don't even care. I'm like, I mean, I'm very connected, especially to her and Ethan. I am to Kaylee and Maddie, but her and Ethan, for some reason, like, just very connected. And I can't explain it. They've woke me up. The only time I've ever really seen them, and I don't know where Maddie was, but Kaylee and Xana were jumping on my bed. My dogs were barking. Ethan was standing against my wall like their bodyguard or something. It was crazy to me. But not crazy, but they were jumping on my bed telling me to get up. And that's one of the times I did a reading and got a lot of things about DM that has come out to be fact. Things that I didn't want to be fact. I would rather be wrong. And that's really where I was. So with that, but a lot of times I don't see, because sometimes I think seeing would freak me out. It's a little bit different with them because I know who they are. Even though in the spirit world, they're not in human form, I think that we see them that way here because that's the way we know familiar of who they are. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Miss Janet. But now that I told y'all a story that nobody probably wanted to hear, sorry, Hershey.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
But that went into like the reason I believe what I believe. But I don't like people that go to church. I don't judge or anything. Like, you do whatever you feel called to do. If somebody tells me they don't believe in what I do because they go to church, I don't get mad and say, well, you should. You know what? You need to believe whatever it is you believe. I'm just saying that I have more questions than I was getting answers, and I did not feel right in my stomach about some of the stuff I was being told. So I went on my own to find the answer. And God does tell us to seek the answer, because somebody told me that was a sin too. And I'm like, no, he tells you to seek the answer. Daggum it. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And without tarot card, I didn't feel like I could talk to God because, okay, in my mind, I'm literal. My friend literally asked me because the preacher was like saying stuff I had been thinking about, and I was like, I didn't think he was supposed to read people's minds. My friend's like, Trisha, how do you think God talks to you? I was like, I don't know. She said, oh my gosh, you thought he was going to part the skies and come, and I did, y'all. I mean, I guess he was parting the skies and he was going to be face to face to me. So I had a hard time understanding what God was saying. And I don't understand how a tarot card can be evil. I guess if you made it evil, it could be. But if I'm asking God to speak to me through these cards, why would he ever tell me it's going to be evil? I'm going to him to speak to me through these cards. So I'm really confused at why people think that. Now, if you're going to whatever, then I mean, I'm not sure what happens, but I don't, I'm scared of all that. I want divine protection and only of the highest good. I'm not manipulating energy because this stuff is beyond my control. Like, and I'm good. I don't want demons coming to tell me anything. I don't, I'm good. So, you know, I want to know what's going on. So I asked for all the protection I can get and
Absolutely.
do it with the best of intention. So that's the way I feel. I do it with love. Am I perfect all the time? No. Is my energy probably where it's supposed to be all the time? No. Do I feel like I can connect all the time? No. I think everybody goes through that. I've got to learn patience, and there is no time on the other side. Lord have mercy. That's one of the things I can't wait for. There is no time. So maybe I won't know what impatience is because it drives me crazy to be impatient. And people that are really patient, it really drives me crazy that they're able to do that because I do not understand. My brain will not comprehend
Depends
that.
on how bad I
So
really
there's that.
want it or need it. My patience it's on a sliding scale. It depends. Like when it comes to actual one-on-one contact with a human, I usually have quite a bit of patience. Surprisingly. But when it comes to the wants and or needs where I place it in my life, it depends on that. That is where my patience kind of jumps to a sliding scale, and it's like I'm stalking something to get it, or I'm quite pushy about it, depending on how bad I
Yeah.
want it. But sometimes I do try to make sure that abundance is a lava flow instead of a molasses flow. But yeah, patience, depending on what it is one of my not so easy spots. I get in there and I get stuck, and it's a sticky situation, and I'm not always the most patient when it comes to
Yeah.
certain things in my life.
Yeah, I'm not. When it comes to my relationships or, like that. Now, if somebody's having a hard time through whatever, I can be patient. Like, that's different. But when it comes to, I mean, just like my relationships, all that kind of stuff, I'm not patient. Like, I know what I want. It doesn't take me 6 months to figure it out. It don't take me 6 months to fall in love. No, like, I know what I want. And that's just that. And that's how that is. And so the issue with that is I've had to find somebody that was on the same freaking fast pace that I was on. They knew what they wanted. That like it doesn't take them forever. You start doing all that, and I start freaking out. And most people that are on a slower scale have some kind of resistance or some kind of wall built up, and I'm just gonna probably go over boundaries like I do and knock it out because I'm like, what is wrong with you? So that's me. I
It
wear my
happens.
heart on my sleeve, so I know, like,
You are human. It happens.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, we're human. I know people look at us like we know we don't. You know, Sloan Bella got that her child was going to die. She didn't know which one. People are literally mean to her and say, well, you're a psychic. You should know that. No, you don't always know. And that's the worst thing, being told that than worrying about it and then not know. Like, I don't want to know. I think I'd just rather not know. But there are people that I trust that do this. Hershey's one of them that I don't know. The first time I ever watched her, I just know. I have always been that good with people. You can say hey to me. You can ask my ex. I told him, one of his friends said hey to me. I said, hey, don't mess with him. Literally, the dude tried to set him up, like pin all kind. It was horrible. I don't know why I know that. That is me kind of judging, but I don't mean to. But I just I don't know. I say it, don't
It's
even know
just
that I'm saying
paying
it.
attention. Paying attention does not make you judgmental. being opinionated about a one-way bias opinion, then that's judgment. But when you know, when the universe says bad guy energy and you don't acknowledge the synchronicity, you're the one that now gets to say, I don't get to be the victim here. I get to go and play right in line with the rest of the yo-yos because I knew it and I didn't immediately react to it. I didn't show the courage when I had the courage to do it. I chose to not step forward. So, no, I think that you're supposed to recognize the bad guy. Once you start getting good guys in your category and you know them to be good guys because the world threw nothing but bad guy energy or bad girl energy at you. So when the good came in, you knew it and you got real protective of it. Once that is your 51% or more, then you want to lift your game up. So absolutely pay attention. And when you feel that bad guy energy or bad girl energy, whatever you want to label it as, I think those that have the courage do, and those that remain in a circle of insanity know that same moment, because the only difference between them, between stupidity and courage, is that strength button. They see it at the same time, but only one of them is going to actually step up and step into the role of encouraging someone to make better choices. So
We've
I
all
don't see
been in
it as
that
a red.
insanity thing. Like
Yeah.
my lesson, look, I can help anybody with their relationship. When it comes to me, I'm the dummy that it's not that way. It's gonna change. This is gonna. I can make it anything change. Like I'm the dummy that's got to do it 1,500 times to for it to
Yeah.
you know
Mhm. Can't take my
for it to
own
be the
advice.
same way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've noticed too, your intuition does lessen as an adult. If y'all remember, even when you were teens, that gut wrenching feeling you would get, that is intuition. And it is very much harder when you're an adult, especially I'm 42. And to think now, it's harder. It's getting easier now. But before I started doing what I was doing now, my intuition was not as strong as it was when I was a teenager, even when I was a kid. It's so crazy that like it's almost better when you're a kid, even though we don't listen to it, most of us, because you know. But that gut wrenching, there's a reason we have those feelings. Like there's a reason, and in real important stuff, adults still get it. Like with our kids, there's certain things that you just have a feeling your kid don't need to go spend the night at this house tonight, whatever. Those are things that we need to listen to. Sometimes we put it off. And even if it's wrong, a lot of times, like maybe it's not all the way right, it's still right enough that there was a reason we felt that way. So I don't ever just ignore it, which I've never really ignored it, because even though I was doing the same thing over and over again, I knew that it was going to happen. Like I could, just like when I tell people somebody's going to be in my life forever, I've been so irritated, and finally I threw my hands up the other day. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I just said it's gonna be in my life forever, so I might as well just get over it and just know that somewhere he's gonna be there, whether it's direct communication or not. He's still gonna be there somewhere. So I just said forget it, and that's how I become okay with myself. Um, because I was like, I don't know why I'm fighting that. Why am I getting mad about it? I already said this. When I said it, we were getting along just fine. I just busted it out. I think on a live stream of that. I was like, this person's always going to be in my life. It doesn't matter what happened. And I'm like, yeah. So, I mean, I'm the definition, should be in the book for insanity, because I do the same thing over and over, expecting different results. And the thing is I clearly know it's not going to be different results. And I still do it and still get the same heartbreak. That's the real stupid thing. How do I do something knowing and it's still hurt, because we're still human and it
We
still
don't
hurts.
see
So
we don't see the insanity. We just don't, because we're feeding the insanity instead of actually seeing the insanity for what it is, instead of feeding it, knowing immediately. There's a split second. You either get to stay in that insanity circle that won't break, or you break it right then and there, and you know from that moment on, I will never go back to a place where I won't step in and find courage for myself. It's
and we
literally a switch within us, and once we see it, we can't undo it anymore. It's like, nope, I cannot do that. So I value those that find that switch and then they tape it off and they make sure that nobody else can affect it either. Like, I can't turn it off, but I'm not going to let anyone else fuck with it either, or excuse me, affect it either. So they put boundaries to protect that switch so they can protect that part of them as well.
And the thing is we do this just like, what's wrong with me? He's not
Nothing.
responding to me. There's something wrong with me. And it's not that. And I clearly knew that this, I mean, he has walls are up. Like, he's not, it's not that I didn't do anything wrong, but what's wrong with me? What do I need to do? And what we do is we pour into people and pour into them and pour into them. And I've done this in every relationship I've been in. I hold it all up and I give and give and give, y'all. I'm telling y'all now. This person I'm talking to now, I have literally just been like, you know what? Nope, I'm not. I'm not carrying. I tell them, this is the way I put this. I probably shouldn't, but I do. I was like, I'm tired of walking bow-legged because I have to have the balls and be the girl in the relationship. I'm done with that. You're going to be a man or we're not doing this. And I don't mean a man beating everybody up. I mean that I'm not. I refuse. I'm not doing it because I deserve. And now I'm uncomfortable with him. Like, all this stuff he says to me, I'm like, because who does this? I don't know what it's like for somebody to pour back into me that what I've poured into them. I'm used to somebody calling me names or somebody, I'm not doing something good enough, or I'm never going to be good enough for this and this. And that's my own fault because I've let people treat me that way. But now I don't even know how to let somebody, I'm very uncomfortable with all this. I'm like, what are you talking about? I want to take off running. So it's okay for somebody to pour back into you what you pour or you pour into them. And that's where I'm at.
100%.
I've said,
I like that. Like I've got a client call here pretty soon, and it's like I really like that. Like I should take a note. Like I like that because it takes somebody that's in healing to see where they want to strengthen different things about themselves that they don't see it when they haven't started the healing process. It's not until you get into that process that you start realizing I have been putting everything in wrong spots, and because I was still going on forced thoughts or this, that, and the other. And then once they really start arranging the boundaries for their self, for protection for them, and they're not protecting the next person from whatever is meant for them, they have stopped blocking their abundance, stopped blocking their blessings and their lessons and blessings and all of that. They are now living in their own present, current moment. There is a healing going on in the background, like that you don't even realize until you start seeing it and be like, oh, that's what that meant, and you're not even mad at yourself for not getting it. You just once again see another spot where someone else put what that means to you by their definition somewhere in your head, and then the healing process literally puts it on a canvas and says, read this out loud, and all of a sudden you're like, well, that doesn't even make sense. How is that living in my head? How did I make that make sense? So where you're at is a good place. So anybody healing can see that, and that's a good thing to actually see. That's good.
Yeah, and y'all, she's got a client call, and I've got another live I've got to do because we have to raise some money for another stream or two. I just realized what time it was, but I will tell y'all this: you do not have to be completely healed to start doing tarot, because I would have not been able to heal a lot of things if I wouldn't have started doing it. I know there's a lot of people that say you can't be in a place of, we're never going to be perfect. We are always learning. Even people like Hershey's been doing this for a long time. Ashley has, but they will tell you, you never stop learning, and you're always going to be in a place of some kind of healing because it's life. But I've learned through, and literally me reading the cards for myself. I don't, this is why I don't read for myself, because it's like, wait on somebody. Wait, how long? Okay. Because right now that person's not putting the energy in me. And I'm like, well, I don't want to do this because what if they come back and then I'm doing something that, who cares? Because you know what? I hate it. I mean, that's just the way that works. And just because somebody's your soulmate, and I learned this too, does not mean, number one, they can be your soulmate and still be a friend, or they can be your soulmate and they could pass away, or it's not always meant to be. Like, just because somebody's your soulmate does not mean that is the person you have to end up with to be happy.
This is true.
And I was very lost with that because I knew that this person had been in my life many past times because there wasn't a beat missed. Like, it was very familiar. Like, I didn't have to have the cards tell me that or anything. I knew. I was like, yeah, we've done this before or something.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I had to accept that because that's a hard thing to accept. Like, well, why not? Wouldn't that be the happiest thing? Sometimes it's not. I mean, sometimes it's not, or it's not the right time, or it's just not meant to be that way. Hershey told me that this person is my soulmate, but it's us being together is a very small possibility. And it's taken me a long time to
Yes.
get to where I'm okay with that because it hurts. Like, it, you know, especially when you have your mindset. My thing is my mind gets set and it's set. It's all or nothing because I'm going down with the tower and everything. The tower don't just
Absolutely.
fall. I mean, I take that
Absolutely.
thing out.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
but
Thank you. Thank you for
yeah,
inviting me. I've had so much fun hanging out with you. This has been wonderful, and I would love to do it again and just hang out and also play with some cards and read some energies. I thought it was a great time, and I really enjoyed myself. Thank you so much.
me too. And y'all, if y'all have cases y'all want us to look into, if y'all will leave it a comment on my stuff, Hershey stuff, send us an email or whatever, and just give us basic information, we can look into it a little bit to see if we can get them energies, and then we can plan to do this more. She has a very busy schedule. Mine is busy, sort of now. It's not as busy as hers, but we can do this because I don't care how many people come in here. It doesn't have to be 100 people. I don't look at the as how many people's in here. I look at the quality, and everybody's been active and enjoyed it. So if y'all have cases or something I want us to look into, send us an email. We love y'all and we are going to go, but it was very fun. And thank you everybody for being respectful, and we will see y'all again.
Bye, guys.
Oh, crud. Hang on one second. I've got to find the thing.
I kind of like you doing.
Hang on, y'all. I've got to find the this whole thing is messed up. Yep, because I got to find the why is this not? Oh, okay.